Welcome, welcome, welcome. Terry Maxwell. And I am the founder with some other folks of Shiftco. I'm very, very excited you're here. This is one of my go-to tools. I use it frequently in our businesses, and I always use it at least twice a year. So it's really, really powerful, very simple. It's a different way to think and a different way to plan. What I also want to just let you know, if you are a member of Shiftco, you're already aware of this, but if you're a guest, we offer these free training sessions. Some of them are just for members only. Some of them are for the public, but we offer a lot of free training because we really do want to advance the conscious entrepreneurship movement. This is just a lineup of some of the trainings that's coming up. And so we've got one of our master teachers coming in with Stephen to do another peek into conscious leadership. Liminal transformation is also a master teacher and expert outside of the community that we're bringing in. And then at the end of the month, I'll be leading a very powerful session on what we call the 10K challenge of getting your business above 10K and what that means. So those are just some of the lineup of events that we've got coming up. My background is prior to Shiftco, I started a portfolio. It's kind of like a purposeful Shark Tank. And we cultivate businesses. So we create them from scratch like Shiftco. And then we have a speculator fund where we invest in different conscious businesses as well. And we take the profits from the cultivator and invest in concepts outside of the portfolio. So the Share on Purpose companies started with Succeed on Purpose. That was our first brand. Ignite on Purpose was our second, then Promote on Purpose, then Talent on Purpose, which does leadership training, coaching, culture development. And then Shiftco was started. We launched Shiftco just a tad bit over a year ago. And it was through this process of creating these brands that I developed this methodology that Shiftco is based on called the Conscious Business Growth Platform. What's unique about that, and it really does relate to the Jumpstart method, is each one of those circles represents a business phase. And what gets you through one business phase is not what gets you through the next business phase. It's very counterintuitive. So we've developed a series of pathways that our members go through to move from one circle to the next circle to the next circle. So that's basically what Shiftco is based on. And with that, I'm going to jump into Jumpstart. So I want to start with perspective. This is me, and that's where I grew up. So you can see it was not exactly an abundant life, but I really do believe sometimes challenges teach us our greatest lesson. And the lesson that I really learned was that you get what you focus on. Sorry for that dinging. I forgot to turn that off. And the idea that you get what you focus on is really how I created this Jumpstart model. And, you know, the lesson my grandfather taught me, you get what you focus on. I was about 12, and we would really hit a really difficult period in our family's life. It had always been difficult, but it was really getting very difficult. And I used athletics to get my frustration out. In this particular game, I was a basketball player. In this particular game, the first half, I mean, I was just scoring. I could do no wrong. And we went into halftime and I got super cocky, and, you know, the coach of the opposing team made a very strategic change. We came back in the second half and they guarded me very differently. And they did what's called a full court press. And a full court press, they try to stop you before you cross the half court line, because once we crossed the half court line, we were scoring left and right. And the first time they stopped me and I lost the ball, kind of got mad and started dribbling. The second time, went to the exact same spot where they had caught me and trapped me. I lose the ball again, 6 times. I went to the exact same spot and was just so crazy, just trying to beat that defender. And, they ended up catching up, and the coach takes me out. And, you can imagine a 12-year-old who lived in this kind of environment. I had a chip on my shoulder, so I was very, very angry. And I stormed out of the gym and went to my grandpa's house. And, I start telling my grandpa this story about this mean coach taking me out of the game, just blaming him. And my grandpa, who is this very wise man, just kind of started rubbing his goatee. And he said, well, Terry, you get what you focus on. And I got to put my hands on my hip like a good 12-year-old. And what do you mean, Grandpa? And he said, well, the first half of the game, what were you focused on? And I said, scoring. And he said, in the second half of the game, what were you focused on? And I said, the obstacle, the defender, Grandpa, they were in my way. And he said, right, you get what you focus on. And like this, whoa, just came over me. And he really kind of turned up the heat a little bit. And he said, Terry, the first half of the game, you were focused on the goal. The second half of the game, you were focused on the obstacle. And what you have to learn to be successful in life is you've got to focus on where you're going. And what happens to us as entrepreneurs, and it's why the Jumpstart method is so impactful, is we get focused on our problems. And more importantly, we get focused on the symptoms related to those problems. So what I'm going to walk you through is how to undo that and how to shift your focus away from the problem, identify the root cause very quickly, but then shift your focus to a goal that you can prioritize in a very specific and very simple way. So remember that lesson, you get what you focus on. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the root cause. Most of the time, if I made a list of the things that weren't working in my business, those are not a root cause. So we're just going to experiment with that today. And I'm going to have you guys make a similar list. But we're going to try to really boil that back. And I'm going to teach you how to peel the symptoms back to one thing, a root cause that we can focus on. And we're not going to focus on where it is today. We're going to focus on where we want it to go. And then I'm going to show you how to identify just a couple of very clear priorities. And then we'll talk about what I call the athlete's advantage. Why are they more successful as entrepreneurs than non-athletes? So there is an advantage that athletes have. I'm going to show you that. And then we'll just end with, a little bit about how we help our members grow. So I'd like you to take just take out a piece of paper and a pen, and I'd like you to write down your biggest business challenge. So just write it down so we can evaluate it based on about 2 decades of research of what the top business challenges are. So I'll give you about a minute to do that. And if you've just joined, welcome. Glad you're here. Wish I had some of that ding dong kind of music. All right, so let's go through from about 2 decades worth of entrepreneurial research, what most people say when they're asked that question. These are the top 4 business challenges. Survey says not enough revenue and/or clients. Not enough revenue and/or clients. Number 1 by far. Typically 35 to 40% of people say that. Second is I need more cash. That's usually number 2. Number 3 is there's not enough time to get everything done. And then number 4 is I don't know how to scale my business. So more than likely, you had one or some similar aspects of these 4. More than likely, I could be wrong. But these are by far 98% of the time when we ask this question, these are the 4 responses that we get, with the number 1 being not enough revenue or I need more revenue and clients. The problem is all 4 of these are symptoms of something else. I'll give you an example. Let's talk about cash. So if you put, I need more cash, it could be that your pricing is off. That could be the root cause. It could be that the way you do receivables is off. It could be your business model is off. It could be that you're just truly underfunded and you need to raise capital. So those are 4 very different root cause scenarios, very different. Let's talk about not enough revenue or clients. So that one, because it's number 1, it's truly a symptom. So if that's the one we're going to define, and I'm going to have everybody on here define just one problem to solve. If that's the one that you selected, that's a symptom. It's not a root cause. And this is what happens is we say, I need more revenue and clients, but solving that could be 50 different combinations unless we know what the root cause is. So let me give an example. If we focus for just a second and we say, well, why don't I have enough clients or revenue? So that's the technique you're going to use, is you're going to take the thing that you said and you're going to say, why is that a problem? And typically why it was a problem is because of something that we need to do differently. Not enough clients or revenue is a symptom. It's not a root cause. So I can't easily solve a symptom. I just can't. It's really, really hard to do that. So if I say, well, why don't I have enough clients or revenue? Then that why helps me get to the root cause. The root cause could be that you're not generating enough awareness. You need thousands of people to be aware that you exist, not 20. You need thousands of people to be aware. It's the number one root cause issue in every single business. Number one is there isn't enough brand awareness. There aren't enough people, statistically, there aren't enough people that know that you exist. Or you think about the difference here. The buyers are not interested and they're not buying. But why? Is it price? Is it value? Why are they not buying? Very different root causes. So the number one reason when we ask people what the number one problem in their business is, they say not enough clients or revenue, but that's a symptom. It's not a root cause. When we try to help them with the root cause, the number one root cause is there aren't enough people that are aware that you exist. That's a very different fix. And it is the number one root cause, by the way. Or it could be that the value of what you do is off or the price is off. It could be the business model, but the number one root cause is usually that there's not enough people that are aware that you exist. And to put that into perspective, in some industries, worst case, you need 1,000 people to be aware that you exist for 2 to 3 to buy. So just think about if you're B2B, think about how many LinkedIn connections you have. If you're a consumer, think about how many Facebook connections you have. Those people are aware that they're aware of you, but are they aware that you even have a business? So if I think I need 10 new clients, then I probably need 5,000 people to be aware that I exist. That's the daunting fact that we don't always want to see. And I'm going to show you, though, how to fix it. I'm going to give you a very simple tool today that you can walk away with and implement. So whatever the answer is, you can address it. So the first lesson, you get what you focus on. If you're focused on a symptom, which is often what we do, you're not going to be able to solve it. If you peel it back and you say, well, why don't I have enough cash? Why don't I have enough clients or revenue? If you peel it back and you try to get a couple of layers underneath it, you're going to get to the root cause. And then once you really get to that root cause, which most of the time is because there's not enough brand awareness, which is the one I'm going to follow through, that is a very easy thing to fix, which I'm also going to show you how to do today. So, which is it? How do you know? And so what you're going to do is I'm going to put you in groups. We're going to do a very quick little breakout. And I want you to just stick with this one. Why don't I have enough revenue or clients? And I just want you to brainstorm in your group why you think you might not have enough. We're just going to spend about 5 minutes. So just rapid fire, and then we're going to see what we come back with. So let me do the breakout rooms real quick. We're just going to we've got 20. So let's go 6 times. Yeah, perfectly, automatically. So we'll see you guys. And you're only going to have 5 minutes and you'll be in small groups. It's going to send you through that. And we just want to have you brainstorm what that root cause might be. Here we go. Welcome back. Welcome back. Everybody's coming back. Yay. Almost all back. We're almost all there. Yay. Welcome back, everybody. Okay, so what did you find? What were some of the things that came out in your group? Don't be shy. What were some of the things that
leveraging LinkedIn, to promote ourselves, to get a wider recognition, if you will, awareness of our brand and what we stand for and what we offer. We ended up, we didn't have a lot of time to talk about it, but to get into video use.
Yep, for
sure. People get to not just see the writing, see the picture, but see you, and hopefully the energy you emote, they can more readily resonate with.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, so this is Ray, and Peter and I had the good fortune of being together. And so, yeah, we talked about consistency too, and how important it is to do something every day on whatever channel we're focused on. So for us, we talked about LinkedIn. And yeah, and that's not always easy with things going on, but make a new connection every day, do a post of some sort every day, that type of thing.
Awesome. Let's have one other group report out.
Yeah, we were sharing a little bit more about how it is that we can actually share something that is of value of our clients, and that we actually meet their needs and talk about their problems instead of what it is that we are actually offering.
Exactly. So you can see we had 3 groups report out, 3 very different results. So here's the problem, right? If I just generically am frustrated that I don't have enough revenue or clients, but I haven't peeled it back to the root cause, the fixes for those root causes that we just described are dramatically different. Video, LinkedIn, Alix, you guys had a completely different thing. One group said, we need to serve more people. So the idea behind that is this is the step number 1 is define the root cause, and it's revenue and clients and cash. Those are symptoms. And what you want to get in the habit of doing, because you get what you focus on. If I'm focused on that system, that symptom, I don't have enough revenue, I don't have enough clients, you're not going to solve the problem. But if I peel it back to why don't I have enough revenue or clients? Why don't I have enough brand awareness? And you just peel it back until you can't go any further, you get to the root cause. And then the root cause is a lot easier to fix. So there's just a couple of steps in step number 2. Once I get to a root cause and I'm like, yeah, I could focus on that and solve it, then you're just going to set a goal. I like to use a numerical goal because it helps me measure whether or not I move the ball down the field. So let's just say I don't have enough connections on LinkedIn. If that's your root cause, okay, well, how many do you want to have? If you've got 1,000 today, in a month, do you want to have 1,500? Do you want to have 2,000? Set a goal. It could be X clients in Y period. Doesn't matter, right? It's just the goal has to match the root cause versus that symptom that's kind of eating away at you. Then am I willing to do what it takes to reach this goal? I always like to ask myself that, because that sometimes causes me to look myself in the mirror. And sometimes I don't like social media. Well, tell yourself the truth. And how else are you going to solve it? If you don't like social media and you know that that's what you need to do, then don't worry about it. Don't beat yourself up for that. How are you going to solve that? What can I do differently? And then what priorities will ensure that I meet the goal? So the first step is root cause and peel it back. Step 2 is how do I address that? And you just ask yourself a series of questions. Now, this next part, when we get to step 3, is really where I'm going to bring in this idea of an athlete's advantage. So what athletes are really, really good at is prioritizing and making moves. So because for an athlete, it's about the energy that they expend. I grew up as an athlete and I had visions of being an elite athlete. And so I studied performance athletics. And there's performance athletes do just a couple of things differently. One is prioritization. They're really, really good at prioritization. And secondly, They understand the concepts of moves. So priorities are really key. So we're going to bring those questions we just asked, and we're going to set a series of priorities. What is a priority? It's very different than a goal. How do we know what our priorities are? Right? These are all great questions. What do priorities give us in the business? So I want to simplify that. And then we're going to do another quick little breakout with a different question. What priorities give you, priorities are the things of highest or higher importance. As entrepreneurs, we're a little ADD, if we tell ourselves the truth, all of us, not just me. We're a little ADD. That's what makes a great entrepreneur. So if you've ever been accused of having ADD, that's what makes a great entrepreneur, by the way, because you got to focus on a zillion things at one time. But it can also be our Achilles heel. We also need to focus. So you get what you focus on, right? If I'm focused on this problem, this problem, this problem, this problem, and all these different symptoms, I'm not going to get anywhere. And it's like running on a treadmill, and I'm just running on the treadmill and I'm not getting anywhere. So what priorities give us is focus, a central point of attraction, a central point of attention, but it also allows us to focus our activity. And that's when we get to step 3. To introduce you to this third step, I told you there's 3 steps, and I'm going to give you not only the recording of this, but I'm going to give you the actual tool that I use. Stephen, who's on our leadership team, will recognize it. The athlete's advantage from studying performance athletes, they master priorities, but they also master making moves versus being in motion. For an athlete, any motion, moving, that doesn't actually move them forward on their goal is wasted energy. Think about that. Emmitt Smith, my favorite football player ever, Florida Gator, Dallas Cowboys record in rushing all time. Whether you like Dallas Cowboys or not, whether you like football or not, you probably know his name. He mastered the ideas of motions versus moves, and he learned how to make fewer motions to actually make a move. So here's what that looks like. A motion is the process of moving. And this is why we struggle as an entrepreneur, because we're moving a lot. We're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing stuff versus making moves. A move is to go from one place to another. So let's look at that. What you want to train yourself to do is to set 1 priority, 2 priorities. When a business is going well, the max I'll have is 3, and that's only when it's going great. Most of the time I have 1 or 2. So you want to prioritize really well, but you want to break that priority into small moves, not a lot of activity, but small moves that you can move the ball down the field. And how can you tell a motion? How can you tell a task from a move? A move is designed to take you from point A to point B. So for example, if we use that LinkedIn example that one of the groups came up with, my problem, my symptom is I don't have enough revenue or clients. The root cause is I don't have connections on LinkedIn. Well, if you wrote, be on LinkedIn every day, that's a motion. You're just going to spin your wheels. But if you said, be on LinkedIn, make 5 new connections every day, now I have a way to break that priority into a move. So now when I'm on LinkedIn, I'm not just posting, reading, dinking around. I'm looking for my target market. I'm looking for the people I want to actually meet so that I can move the goal forward. Just like a football field or a soccer field that's broken into the 4 segments. For those of you in Europe, they break the field down into segments. They break a basketball court. Basketball court is broken into 4 segments as well. And those segments allow athletes to make moves. And so what we trained ourselves to do as an athlete, as a basketball player, as a point guard, my goal was within 2 seconds, I wanted the ball to be at the half court line, which is pretty fast, but we were really good at moving the ball down the court. So what would that trap, remember, is that first dribble I took as I came across that line, they trapped me in between there and the half court line, so I couldn't move the ball down the field. And then, not down the court. I couldn't move the ball down the court. Basically, it stops your progress. So what you want to train yourself to do is 1, root cause assessment, Second is establish 1 or 2 priorities. I'm going to give you an example what that looks like. Third is you want to train yourself. Rather than making a task list, you want to have a set of moves. A move is a priority that's broken down into something that you can measure and something that you can actually feel progress in. And then I'm going to show you how to dedicate each day to making 3 good moves. So what I'd like to do is another breakout. This one's going to be just a tad bit longer, but I'd like you to just say, okay, where am I in motion doing stuff versus where am I making moves in my business? So that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to put you back in the groups if all goes well. And you're going to go back in those groups. I'll put that question in there and you're going to explore that question. Here we go. All right, welcome back. So what kind of things did you guys come up with in your groups? Anybody want to share?
We talked about, or I talked about, yeah, there's a lot of movement, not much, or a lot of motion, not much moves. A lot of processing of email, but very, lulled into the illusion that by processing email, you're actually producing something. Anyway, that was part of it. The certainly resonated with the need for priority and like the concept of, just focus on 3 good moves a day.
Exactly.
Related to the gain clarity again about the root cause. What's the priority? 3 good moves on that priority a day.
Yeah, when we do survey people on this in terms of where are they in motion, email's number 1 and social media is number 2.
Yeah.
So most people are doing social media in
As
a
a
motion way,
yes,
not in a move way.
yes.
Anybody else have a different thing that came out in your group? So it sounds like email and social media were wrong at the top of the list. Okay.
Yeah, in
so-
our group, we discussed LinkedIn, how we're posting what we feel is the right content, but it's more for the sake of posting.
Yep. That's great, Kaylee. Absolutely. Anybody else have anything else you want to share before we go to the last piece and I show you the planning tool that I will send to you after when we send you the recording?
Well, I can share something that I'm struggling with. Because like for me, the biggest mindset shift that is helping me to start doing brand awareness and demand generation is that it is to really serve the people that I would love to serve. And if I make it so quantifiable and be like, oh, I need to be on LinkedIn and I have to create 5 connections, I lose that feeling of I'm here to serve someone.
So the way that I do that, and I'm a big proponent in authentic demand generation and service, is rather than saying I'm going to do it for 60 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever, I say I'm going to do it until I make 5 authentic connections. And when I'm in a group, rather than just posting and running and then posting in another group and running, which is what a lot of people do, because I hope nobody, is upset about it, post the content, just post and run. I post and then I actually network in the group to find people that I would authentically want to connect with. So the goal that I'm measuring myself by, because as humans we're goal oriented, of 5 authentic connections, is I'm in the group, not trying to get anything, not even trying to help anybody, but I'm in the group trying to serve people so that I get an authentic connection. I'm not attached to where it goes, but that's the way that I use the goal and the authentic service is I want to make 5 authentic connections, hopefully in this hour. And for those of you that do power hours with me, I'm focused for that hour, I'm in that group. But the one thing that I do in my mind, because I I think like an athlete is I look for 5 authentic connections in that 1 hour so that I'm not just busy posting, running, and I'm bouncing around. I'm actually making progress towards a goal.
Thanks.
Other questions or comments before we do the last piece and I give you the planning tool? Okay, so step 1 is you got a lot of symptoms. You got to go, why is that? Why is that? And peel it back until you get to the root cause. Step 2 is to ask yourself some questions. What are the priorities? Those priority questions that were on that slide. You know, what do I really need to prioritize to really solve this? And then you start breaking that priority down into moves. And moves are measurable things that feel like you're getting somewhere rather than tasks. I don't have a to-do list. I have a set of moves, and I'm going to make 3 to 5 good moves every single day in my business. So that takes us to how do you put it all together, and then the planning tool. So priorities based on that root cause analysis. 1, priority. 2, if your business is doing great, have 3. Anything more than 3 priorities, you're kidding yourself and you're going to get back into busy work. Those priorities give you focus. It's a central point of attraction, right? So the